Hi everyone, so this is the daily analysis of the Hindu for today, that is the 30th of January 2017, will be presented to you by me, Dipanshu Singh. So, if you wish to read more about me, you can go through this slide, and you can also follow me on Academy on clicking on this link. But please rate and review the course. Last 2 days of this month's course, please let us know what do you think of the course and what suggestions do you propose. And otherwise, plus give us 5 stars if you think that the course is really beneficial for you. So the practice question for today is, who has been appointed as the new Chancellor of Nalanda University? So these are your options, and the answer for yesterday's question is Keshav Krishna for the National Geosciences Award. So the first page news is regarding the Election Commission. There's a ban on the exit polls between February 4th and March 8th. So as you know that 5 states in India are going for polls between these months. So the assembly polls in 5 states and the Amritsar Lok Sabha by-poll, for that the Election Commission, under the Model Code of Conduct and under the provisions of the RPA, has banned the exit polls. So exit polls cannot be conducted and publicized by means of print and electronic media or dissemination in any other manner starting from these dates. So these are under the provisions of the section 126A of the Representations of the People's Act 1951. So what is an exit poll and what is an opinion poll? A lot of times you heard generally hear these words and concepts, but you generally don't know what exactly it means. So an exit poll is a poll of voters that is taken immediately after they have exited the poll stations, asking for whom the voter has actually voted. And an opinion poll is generally before whom the voter actually plans to vote. So this is the basic difference between an exit poll and opinion poll, for which the ban has been placed by the Election Commission. Because generally what happens, it swings the direction, because these opinion polls and exit polls generally influence the voters. That has been the case a lot of times, which has been reported. So to prevent this and to conduct the elections in a fair and transparent manner, the Election Commission has suggested the ban on the exit polls. Now, Aadhaar number printed on paper is perfectly valid. This is as per the central government's order. So UIDAI has cautioned people about misuse of their personal information through the unauthorized agencies for printing Aadhaar numbers on a plastic card, because the Aadhaar letter with its even cutaway portion or the downloaded version or even the black and white form is perfectly valid as the original Aadhaar card sent by the UIDAI. So therefore you need to be aware for a possible misuse of your Aadhaar card and your personal information. Now, scientists have for the first time have grown human cells inside pig embryos. So this is the first step, towards growing human organs in pigs. So at the preliminary stage, any growing of human organs in pig is far away, and new research is just a very early step towards the goal. So it is very significant because it is considered a very early step towards the goal of growing livers and other human organs in animals to transplant into people. So putting human cells in animals can actually pay off for studies of how genetic diseases develop and for screening potential drugs. So such human animal research has raised certain ethical concerns as well, so which need to be taken care of. Now, very important news for prelims point of view, very, very, very important. You need to know about this vanadium dioxide. So this is a metal which has been identified, which can conduct electricity without conducting heat, going against the principle of the Wiedemann-Franz law. So it is an incredibly useful property which may actually pave the way for systems that can convert waste heat from engines and appliances into electric power. So the findings can actually lead to a wide range of applications, such as the thermoelectric systems that can convert waste heat from engines and appliances into electricity. So for most of the metals, they follow this relationship between electrical and thermal conductivity as per the law of the Wiedemann and Franz law. So the law states that the good conductors of electricity are also the good conductors of heat, but that is not the case for this metallic vanadium dioxide. So vanadium dioxide is already noted for its unusual ability to switch from an insulator to a metal when it reaches 67 degrees Celsius. So this is the extra property about vanadium dioxide. Very important news for prelims point of view. So the next news is regarding the renewable energy demand, which is expected to rise for India and other developing nations. So the BP Energy Outlook has said that India's demand for green energy is expected to grow by 7 times by 2035, and accordingly the share of renewable energy in the country's fuel mix will also increase from the present level of 2% to 8% in 2035. However, this green surge, this investment in green and renewables will not be adequate to meet India's growing need for energy. because the demand growth expected is to be more than the double than the non-OECD countries. So India's expected energy demand is actually expected to outpace the other BRIC nations, and the demand for energy in India is expected to grow at around 129%, while that for comparatively for China and Brazil will grow by 47-41% respectively, and Russia's energy demand is expected to grow around 2%. Now the Indian indigenous built satellite, the Navik navigation system, has a certain has developed a certain technical snag in the atomic clocks in this first satellite. So in the Navik, which is a constellation of 7 satellites, one of the 3 crucial rubidium timekeepers, which is a part of the atomic clock, on IRNS-1A spacecraft failed 6 months ago, and then subsequently 2 more failures also followed. So this is similar to the atomic clock glitches in that struck the European navigation constellation, that is Galileo. So ISRO is in touch with the European Space Agency regarding how to deal with this issue. And Navik has 21 atomic clocks on 7 spacecraft, 7 spacecraft, that is the satellites, and the ISRO is basically trying to revive the clocks on 1A and readying one of the 2 backup navigation satellites if the need requires to replace it in space in the second half of this year. The next one is a very important news from prelims point of view, and generally the questions from these culture related and history related questions are asked even from the Hindu. So generally we think that the questions are asked from NCERT, but then the context of asking this question is relevant from the newspapers point of view, where they are generally picked up. If you look at the history of UPSC asking questions based on history of medieval India or ancient India, specifically from South India, is based on the news from the newspapers, that is the Hindu. So Supreme Court in a recent order has cited the ancient South Indian king, the Chola king, which is by the name of Manu Nidhi Chauhan, or the Ellara. So this king basically ruled South India around 250 BC and has been the torch bearer of the judges' work philosophy that nobody is above the law and all are equal, and you cannot do favors to your own relatives or family members. So if you go to the Madras High Court, when you enter the Madras High Court, you can see a statue of this Chola king Ellara, which has a statue of this king standing with 2 wheels on the other side of a chariot and a calf and a small child beneath each wheel. And there's a story behind this, so we'll look into the story, because basically what happened, the prince or the son of the Chola king actually crushed by mistake, for his recklessness, the young calf of this young calf of a cow. So therefore the calf died, and this cow basically approached the king for justice. So the king ordered his son to be executed in the same way as he crushed the young calf. So he was considered an epitome of justice. So the apex court narrated the legend of how he believed in even justice towards friends and foes, and had hung a giant bell in front of his palace and announced that anyone seeking justice could ring it and he will be heard. So therefore very important news from prelims point of view, an interesting story as well. Now the next one is that General Bipin Rawat, the Chief of Army Staff, has blamed Pakistan for the recent avalanches in Jammu and Kashmir Valley. So the global warming, apart from that, ecological changes and heavy shelling by Pakistani troops are triggering the avalanches in places like Jammu and Kashmir, which had not reported such instances in earlier times. And there have been numerous ceasefire violations and use of heavy weapons by Pakistani troops that are leading to loosening of soil, thus creating danger of a landslide. And global warming is also leading to cracks in glaciers. So an avalanche is basically a rapid flow of snow from snow down a sloping surface. So usually they accelerate rapidly and grow in mass and volume as they enter more snow. And if the avalanche moves fast enough, some of the snow may mix with the air, forming a powdered snow avalanche. And generally they are primarily composed of flowing snow and air, but large avalanches have the capability to entertain ice and entrain ice, rocks, trees and other materials. And they are generally not rare or random events and are endemic to any mountain ranges that accumulates a standing snowpack, and they are most common during winters or spring, but glacier movements may cause ice and snow avalanches at any time of the year. Now, central government will provide tablet PCs to school children in Chhattisgarh. So, for basically using this, school can feed in data on teachers' attendance, student attendance, and even the midday meal served. So, even if there's no immediate connectivity, the data will be transferred to the server the moment the teacher accesses the internet. So, it's somewhat similar like WhatsApp. And this would also help in better assessment of quality of education in school. There are already numerous reports. If you go by the annual State of Education report by Pratham NGO, and then there are several learning deficit series of the Hindu has indicated the the appalling state of education in India. And teacher training videos and educational videos for students can also be made available on this tablet as an aid to teaching. So if you look at the latest survey of the SER of Pratham, only 28% of the class 3 students in Chhattisgarh can read a class 2 text. This was 56% in the case of class 5 students and 73.5% in the case of class 8 students. Now, the business page news, this is very important regarding the national waterway. Apart from that, what I'm covering in this summary is just a crux of the issue, what is explained in the interview. So you should definitely go through this interview. So National Waterway 1 is economically viable without increasing tariff. That is as per the interview from the body of the head of the Inland Waterway Authority of India. So this IWAY was set up way back in 1986, and 5 national waterways have remained designated for several years. But it is only now that the progress has started and development has started on a sustainable water transport to somewhat ease the pressure on the rail on roadways, as well as ensuring drastic reduction in emissions and logistic cost. So in 2014, the government announced rupees 5369 crores for the NW1, that is National Waterway 1 project spanning 1400 kilometers from Allahabad to Haldia on the river Ganga, that will come up with the technical and financial assistance from the World Bank. So the government also ensured the passage of the National Waterway Act, which increased the number of waterways to 111, and the construction of there's construction going on for 3 multimodal terminals with railway and road connectivity at Varanasi, Sahibganj, Jharkhand, and Haldia in Bengal. There's also construction of a new navigation lock at Farakka. And to address the concern of environmentalists, DST Germany, which is the company which is roped in for this project, is designing LNG-powered vessels. And there was a trial run on this where Maruti cars were transported through this route, and they actually claimed that the transportation cost had reduced the cost by rupees 3,800 rupees per car. And they have also identified 18 locations in 6 cities by the National Waterway 1 where they will provide ferry services as per the request of the Government of India. And they're also working on developing river information system like the air traffic controller, which will set up the vessel tracking and monitoring system to avoid collision of vessels. And the spending on this project is only 5% of the project cost on land acquisition. So generally in highways, the project cost is more than 50% of the project cost goes for only land acquisition, which is comparatively for national waterways, which is much cheaper, and otherwise on the compensation packages, leasing out of lands to private parties to set up warehousing, tourism, or cold storage facilities is also on the cards for the authority. So read about all the national waterways and just go through this article once on the Hindu newspaper. Now, Finance Minister may actually help in the aiding the Rail Safety Fund, which is the Rashtriya Rail Sanrakshan Kosh. So, the Finance Minister has agreed to contribute partially to a newly dedicated Railway Safety Fund in the upcoming budget to be presented on February the 1st. So, it will they are planning to set up and create a non-lapsable safety fund named the Rashtriya Rail Sanrakshan Kosh over 5 years of initial proposed corpus of rupees 20,000 crores for every year for 5 years, and the total outlay cost for this proposed fund is rupees 1.1 lakh crore, and it will set up. It is being set up based on the recommendations of the high-level safety review committee under the former chairman of Atomic Energy Commission, that is Dr. Anil Kakodkar. Very important news for a prelims point of view. Apart from that, the centre has also so far implemented only 22 out of the 87 partially fully accepted recommendations of the committee, and about rupees 10,000 crore for this project of the 20,000 crore will likely be earmarked from the central road fund that will be collected. That is actually collected by levying a cess on the diesel and petrol at present for safe-related work, and the dedicated rail safety fund is proposed to be utilized for track improvement, bridge rehabilitation work, rolling stock replacement, human resource development, improved inspection system and safety work, and level crossing, and among other things. And train derailments have actually increased to a 6-year high of 74 till January 23rd this year compared to 65 in 25 and 16. So that is why there was a need of improving the railway safety. Therefore, this non-lapsable fund and a safety fund, the Rashtriya Rail Sanrakshan course, has been suggested. So this is it for today, guys. Do let me know what you think of the video, and do recommend each and every video and rate and review the course. So till next video, I hope you have a good day. Thank you so much.